certainly clarification of roles. I think also more staff empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
And a more secure environment.
Yeah. And sometimes people get real antsy about that staff empowerment thing. You know, what are we doing? Are we turning this whole thing over to the staff to do whatever they want? I slip into South Carolina mode when I say that. But how can you feel comfortable empowering the staff to get the job done, so to speak? What about this model allows you to feel a deep settledness and turning the operational work over to the staff?
You set boundaries.
Don't make it complicated. It's just that simple. It's because you have placed the guardrails there, you've placed the boundaries, and you've identified the destination, and you've placed the boundaries, and you've done your job. So why be fretful about it? Sometimes it's easy to be fretful because, well, what if they don't do it the way I would have done it if I was the CEO? Yeah. Yeah, I heard Dr. Carver say that one time. Said, if the board was really concerned about how you would have done it, they'd hired you instead of him. Yeah. But I don't repeat that too often.
I think perhaps the fourth bullet is understated as we initially read it, at least for me. The personal fulfillment aspect concerns between governance and, let's just call it voluntary service, furthering of the direct purpose of the organization. I think it also is a key to enabling the CEO to respond in kind, because I think he's a governor as well.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, personal fulfillment for the employees or for the partner is one of those tools, subtle tools,
Right.
that enables freedom
Mm-hmm.
and achievement and personal fulfillment.
Great. Thank you.
Actually, that fourth point, though, for those of us who are on the board, many people would say that's reduced with Carver. In the sense that if you look at it from an egocentric point of view, everything's being done. You know, we give the directives, we set the boundaries, Andy makes it happen. But in the old style, we made it happen.
Mm-hmm.
We worked by committee. We wrote
Right.
the grants.
Mm-hmm.
We applied for the grants. We filled out the 100-page document. So each board member, we got the list of requests. We decided where the money went.
Yeah.
This many requests, how much money do we have, what can we fulfill? We actually, as a board, decided the budget for our partners and where that money went. We don't do that. So, and board members were the ones that went out for vision trips to Covenant Hospital and Moden Koshu and decided that this isn't working, we gotta. So it was much more board run.
Mm-hmm.
And it was huge. You know, I'd say it was board heavy and CEO light. CEO was just kind of there to manage the staff and get the reports done for audits and stuff like that, but the board did all the muscle. And so that's been really tough for some members that were there. And in fact, I think it would be difficult in some respects for people who have been, the board's 53 years old, something like that, 55, to recruit some of those old members back onto this Carver board. I think they would be comfortable with the way it is now because they were so used to that committee-run board. So I would say some of the board members would say they feel detached if they were looking at it from an egocentric view. But I would say as a board, we get a whole bunch more
We'd be into
done.
that raising the dead issue.
Right. I can think of
Yeah.
10 people that would
Yeah.
not come back. They just don't like it the way it is.
Yeah.
And that's also, that's a recipe for board burnout too.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because, most of us have other jobs.
We have 40 people on the board.
Yeah. I'm constantly
Whoa.
Wow.
We had 40 people on the board.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm constantly running into highly capable board members that said, I would not be able to serve on this board if they were not using policy governance. Because I don't have time in life to go do the work of the staff. You know, I'll be a board member, I'll be a governor, but I can't go make all the operational decisions. And so you're far more likely to get highly capable people, you know, in a governing role. But that's, I don't want to go there. I want to acknowledge the reality of what you're saying here. In fact, I wrote an article one time entitled "Policy Governance Stole My Job." yeah, because that's what it may feel like emotionally, because you have to change the mindset. That's why we started with the question, what's the purpose of the board? And in essence, a governing board has its job to see that the ends are reached and the limits are upheld. Said another way, if you had to summarize governance in one sentence, it's to see that good things happen and bad things don't. Okay, that's governance. Now, the volunteer world is something totally different. You know, a participatory volunteer role is something totally different from a governance oversight perspective. But it can be balanced, and they can work together. I serve as an elder in my church. Part of the expectations of the elders are involvement in shepherding, you know, within the church and helping people. That's a sort of volunteer hat role. When we come to a board meeting of the elders in the church, I put a different hat on there on that. And I can do it, you can do it, and there can be fulfillment in both ways, but there'll be confusion if you try to wear both hats at the same time. That double-billed hat creates confusion and frustration for folks. So, all right, there are 4 foundational pillars. Let me mention these, and then we'll take our lunch break. We were break for lunch at 12, right? So, okay, there's accountability. The board holds the administrator strictly accountable for policies. Then there's empowerment. These are overused words, but they're really important, and it's really important that they be used together. There's accountability. There's nothing negative about that. If you don't have accountability, man, how do you even know that you're getting the job done? So there has to be accountability, but empowerment allows you to, within that context of accountability, let somebody do their job. Draw those clear limits of acceptable activities. That Uber driver taking me to Denver, I never once told him how to drive. Didn't have to. I knew he had a set of laws that he was operating within, and he got me there safely and on time. So, but have those clear limits. Then there's servant leadership, and we'll talk about this more when we come back. But servant leadership is very important. You have to know who you are serving, and the board is servant to the owners. We'll refresh our memory on that. Who are your owners is the question we need to talk about, and how do you serve them, and how do you connect with them is an important part of policy governance, because you are holding this organization in trust for those moral owners. Then clarity of group values. Healthy board has that diversity of opinion, the back and forth kind of stuff, but the board only has authority when it's functioning as a group. Individuals have no independent authority at all. The board speaks clearly with one voice, and it's like it's commonly said, I like that principle. The board speaks with one voice, and I'm happy with that as long as that voice is mine. So, all right. Obviously, here's what we're going to do after lunch. we'll talk about the fact that, you know, good governance is not these things, as important as all those are, but instead good governance is about values, strategic leadership, vision, reaching those ends. But there are 10, we'll do this before lunch. Policy governance is a model of leadership, clarifies the roles between board and administration in such a way that both experience the mutual joy of a fulfilled vision. That's a pretty nifty little way of saying it, isn't it? Pretty classy way to say it. One other guy said it a way that I identified with a little bit more because of my background. He said, "Oh, Phil, I don't get into all these big words." He said, "The way I look at it is policy governance is the board does board stuff, the staff does staff stuff, and the whole thing works better for the glory of God." And I laughed out loud. But this is the only one I put up on the slide, though. I didn't put that other one up there. So we'll look at the principles of 10 principles of policy governance. I'll draw a diagram with several of those, and we'll do that after lunch.